What's going on, world? Coming at you guys again. We got another quick video. Jeff Metcalf, Austin Metcalf, and Carmelo Anthony. Let's talk about it. So, the recent decision came down about denying Carmelo Anthony's ability for a new trial, which is whatever it is. They have other avenues in which they can pursue um, recourse when it comes to trying to get some type of vindication, as well as what I believe is a possibility for him to be acquitted. Um, for Carmelo Anthony, as I've said before, if you take the time to go research something called concerted group action and the Texas self defense doctrine, it is very, very easy to see how Carmelo Anthony could have been acquitted and proven innocent. But let's talk about the narrative that's being shaped in the media today. We have already seen interviews with Jeff Metcalf talking about Watermelon Felon, and I guess black people are too unintelligent to fill out a voter registration or voter survey card or something like that, which I interpreted his meaning as being that I guess black people weren't intelligent enough to be like it's a very bad look because white people are already known to be conniving. So when like I said, I can only interpret what he meant by him saying that I guess people of color aren't intelligent enough to fill out a card without saying that they couldn't be biased, that they were supposed to lie. And then the fact came out to where Jake Lang, I believe, came out saying that Jeff Metcalf stood with us or stands with us when the incident initially took place. And Jeff Metcalf said, no, I don't stand with Jake Lang because he's known allegedly to be supremacist or racist. And he wanted to distance himself from that as much as possible. But we just literally just saw more information and facts come out through the court about how Austin Metcalf and Hunter Metcalf had a history of racist, biased applications of graffiti, talking about KKK and He Who Shall Not Be Named from Nazi Germany, and their alleged uh, transgressions of assault and possible battery against people of color, and their suspensions and their overall just history of violence amongst people. And it looks like it's a fair share of people of color and females, as well as their character and demeanor from alleged statements that they weren't very civilized, right? And now you see Jeff Metcalf being interviewed in different um, news sources, trying to paint him in the light of being the victim, of him being, traumatized, of him being sad, and all the rest of this stuff. But when the original initial issues came out and interviews came out, again, he was in a manner in which he was talking down upon, like he said, you don't even know who your fathers are. And I can only interpret that. He's saying that people who grew up without fathers are somehow less than capable of being civilized citizens. And I made a video and I said, well, when you actually look at all these facts and you guys are asking about, oh, it's so unfortunate about what happened because Carmelo Anthony did this, Carmelo Anthony did that. Why is nobody pointing the finger and asking Jeff Metcalf the real questions? How are you a father and you allow your children to adopt and associate themselves with racist, biased, prejudiced rhetoric and to be known as quote unquote alleged bullies and violent, aggressive people? America is already known to be violent and aggressive against people of color if you are white. So the fact that his kids are fitting the stereotype to a T, it makes you question, why are people still interviewing Jeff Metcalf like he wasn't a father. And again, I made another video. I said it's unfortunate what happened to Austin Metcalf, and it's very unfortunate to happen to Carmelo Anthony. But the real question is Austin Metcalf a victim of a fatherless household? Because what kind of father is interactive with his son, and his son has shown a history of bias, prejudice, racist, violent, and aggressive behavior? You know, at some point, you have to stop looking at this in one point perspective to say the black kid did wrong and look at it like, where was the father at? Because as it stands right now, the narrative and interviews that were happening with Jeff Metcalf when this first started are completely different than the character in which he is displaying in the interviews now. And the reality of the situation is, you know, we need transparency here in America, not narratives.